Who, or what, was the Mad Gasser of Mattoon? Did a mysterious assailant really stalk the town, spraying poisonous gas into people's homes? Or was it all a case of mass hysteria fueled by fear and paranoia? By the end of this video, we'll unravel the chilling mystery behind one of the most bizarre and terrifying events in American history. The first attack, August 1944. In late August 1944, the quiet town of Mattoon, Illinois, was thrust into chaos when reports of a strange gas attack surfaced. A woman named Eileen Kearney was the first to fall victim. She awoke in the middle of the night, unable to move, and noticed a strange, sweet smell in her room. She felt nauseous, weak, and disoriented. Her husband, arriving home shortly after, noticed a man lurking outside the window, but the figure vanished before he could investigate further. What followed was a cascade of similar reports from other residents in the town. People claimed to have been attacked by an unknown assailant who pumped gas into their homes through open windows, leaving victims paralyzed or incapacitated for hours. The attacker was quickly dubbed the Mad Gasser, or the Phantom Anesthetist. A wave of panic. As word spread, the town of Mattoon descended into panic. Over the course of a few weeks, dozens of people reported strange gas attacks. Victims described the same symptoms: difficulty breathing, nausea, and temporary paralysis. Most of the attacks occurred late at night, adding to the terror as people feared falling asleep in their homes. The reports had a common thread: a sweet, sickly odor followed by the onset of symptoms. Windows were closed, locks were secured, and vigilante groups began patrolling the streets in search of the elusive gasser. Some claimed to have seen a shadowy figure fleeing the scene, always disappearing into the night before he could be apprehended. The fear was so pervasive that families were afraid to let their children play outside. Police involvement and theories. Mattoon police took the reports seriously and launched an investigation. However, no solid evidence was ever found. No footprints, no fingerprints, and no tangible clues as to who the Mad Gasser could be. Theories began to surface, and the explanations ranged from logical to the outright bizarre. Some believed the Gasser was a mad scientist, experimenting on unsuspecting townsfolk. Others speculated that it was the work of a deranged individual using an advanced chemical spray. The more skeptical residents wondered if the gasser was a figment of collective imagination, a product of mass hysteria during a time of heightened anxiety due to World War II. Despite their efforts, the police were unable to catch the gasser. In several instances, no trace of gas or chemicals could be found at the alleged crime scenes, further complicating the investigation. Even when the National Guard was called in, the mystery deepened rather than resolved. Mass hysteria or real attacks? As the weeks went on, skepticism grew. Many believed that the reports were the result of mass hysteria rather than actual gas attacks. Psychologists argued that fear and stress from the war could have caused people to imagine or exaggerate their symptoms, feeding off each other's anxiety. In fact, several doctors who examined the victims found no evidence of gas poisoning. Newspapers contributed to the growing fear, with sensational headlines and stories fueling the panic. The fact that no attacker was ever caught or identified added to the town's confusion and paranoia. By late September, reports of gas attacks began to dwindle, and eventually, they stopped altogether. The Mad Gasser seemed to have vanished as mysteriously as he had appeared. The legacy of the Mad Gasser. So, who or what was the Mad Gasser of Mattoon? While some still believe that a real attacker was behind the strange events, many experts now agree that the Gasser was likely a case of mass hysteria. The combination of war anxiety, sensationalist media coverage, and the power of suggestion seemed to have created a perfect storm of fear that spread throughout the community. However, the legend of the Mad Gasser lives on. Even though no one was ever seriously harmed, the incident remains one of the most puzzling and chilling examples of mass hysteria in U.S. history. Whether it was a real criminal or simply the product of fearful imaginations, the Mad Gasser left an indelible mark on the town of Mattoon. Final thoughts. Did the Mad Gasser of Mattoon really stalk the town, or was it all in the minds of terrified citizens? The truth may never be known. What we do know is that fear, whether justified or imagined, can have powerful effects on a community. The Mad Gasser of Mattoon will forever remain one of America's strangest and most unsettling mysteries.